feeling pretty happy. We have a pretty good solution going on. We have that for loop to loop over all the children of a node and turn all the things off and then just turn back on the one we want. I'm going to switch to, so then this is that version here I'm looking at. You can't really tell from the URL. I'm going to switch to another slight URL. Instead of hiding parts version 2, I'm going to look at version 2 hyphen oops. Okay. And when I go look at that, gosh, something's not working. I see all 5 paragraphs there. Nothing's happened. Something's gone wrong. I click these different links, and yeah, all the paragraphs stay displayed. Something's gone horribly wrong. How do we debug? How do we find out what's going on? First of all, don't attempt these JavaScript assignments. Don't try to write JavaScript in the browser without using the developer tools. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and look at the developer tools, and again, more tools, developer tools, brings up this. Now it's going to be kind of hard to see. I'm going to go ahead and bring this tab up to my full tab here so we see it all. We have the non-working page here, and I now see a bunch of error messages that I would not see if I didn't pull up the developer tools. Uncaught type error, cannot set property display of undefined. And it happened in hiding parts version 2, oops, line 23. In fact, I have 4 errors all hitting in line 23. Sounds like if I'm hitting the same error 4 times, that might be inside a loop. So I can even click on this, and it's kind of nice. Chrome has very nice developer tools. Brings me to line 23, and I can see that line 23 is the line achild.style.display gets none. Okay. Now, first of all, I'll fill you in on the little secret here. What did I change in doing all this? In the loop, this for loop, I changed the parent node dot children to parent node dot child nodes. Okay, I mentioned that both are there. We'll now sort of see what the difference is. But suppose I just, as an honest mistake, used child nodes, not having any idea that it was different than children or not knowing what the difference was. How do we track this down? Well, first of all, see the console, get the error message. Number 1 thing to do. Okay, understand this error message. achild.style.display gets none. It says cannot set the property display of undefined. What does that mean? That means achild.style is undefined. Okay, the thing you're trying to access the display of. Achild is defined, but achild.display is not. Okay, so we're going to figure out what's going on here. And this is just basic debugger usage. I can actually click on the line number. I'm going to click on the first line inside the while loop, and that sets a breakpoint. You can even see over here breakpoints. And now I'm going to reload the page, Command R, run everything again, and it's run up, and we're calling the show just, okay, and I'm sitting here looking at line 22. Line 22 is not executed, not even for the very first time. So we're about to execute it for the first time. I'm going to look at the scope window over here. It shows my local variables. Parent ID is animal paragraphs. Parent node is the div, just like we thought it might be. Achild is currently undefined. Okay, well that's because we haven't executed line 22 yet. We haven't assigned achild. So I'm going to click. There's a little button that says step over next function call. There's two ways to step. Step over a function call and go to line 23. Or step into any function call. In this case, there isn't, just grabbing fields and so on. But if I were calling a helper function, I might want to step into the helper function that I'm calling. In this case, we're going to step over. We're going to step over and go to line 23. Okay, so, and it has a little note here, achild. If I look at my scope, achild has a value, but the value is text. And that's kind of weird because I thought achild would be one of the P nodes, an entire node, not just text. In fact, I can go ahead and look at the attributes of achild and see that there's something called data, and it's a return character, a little string here. It's a return character. And in particular, if I look at it, it has some things. Style is not one of the attributes this has. Okay? And so, in particular, it's going to be aChild.style doesn't exist. If you try to access a field that doesn't exist, that doesn't actually trigger an error in JavaScript. It returns the value called undefined. Okay? And so now when I step once more, we're going to actually hit that problem. Oh yeah, aChild.display was undefined, and now, aChild.style was undefined. Undefined.display, that triggers an error. You can't access a field of the undefined value. So, okay. So what gives, oh wait, this childNodes of I was a return character. Well, that's kind of weird. I'm going to zoom down in this div. Or I can even go look at the, let's go rerun this so I enter that same scope. I can even look at the parent node for animal paragraphs and look at the thing that I'm looping over, which is, I call it childNodes. Here are childNodes, and I see that, yeah, it's children is what we wanted. That's what worked a moment ago, and is what we should have had. And that was an array with 5 elements, the 5 paragraphs. This is an array with 11 things in it. There's not 11, there's only 5 paragraph nodes inside there. Let's go and look at childNodes, and I see that, oh, you know what's inside here? Text, the return character. Then there's that paragraph about aardvarks. And then there's some more text, another return character. And then the paragraph about bees. And then some more text, a return character. And so on. And you know, if I go down and look in my div, sure enough, here's the paragraph about bees. What comes, or about aardvarks, what comes after that paragraph, but before the paragraph about bees on line 59? Oh, the return character was the end of line 58. People sometimes say that browsers, that white space in HTML isn't there. No, it certainly is there. Your browser sees that it's there. It's in the DOM. It's just that browsers, when rendering an HTML tree as pixels on the screen, tend to ignore white space you have in your document. But that's not the same as it's saying it's not there. It's definitely there. I looped over it. I set my variable aChild to be a chunk of text rather than just the p tags inside. And that's explaining the difference between childNodes and children. Do you want to loop over everything that was a child of this thing? That's childNodes. Or do you want to loop over just the tags that were children of this node? That's the field children. Okay. It's a weird distinction. What I just talked about was really, hey, how do we go about in the debugger and figure out what's going on? Pulling up that console window, finding the error message, number one essential thing to do. Debugger is sort of a nice little tool if you want to get into that. Hopefully you shouldn't. The one thing I'll leave you with is just a little note that's on the webpage. This for loop that we had up in our JavaScript. Okay, we just did a regular old for loop. For I gets 0, I less than blah blah blah, plus I. And we saw in PHP, we said never use that sort of for loop. Use a for each loop to loop over the values in the array. And even in Java, there is a for each loop. It's spelled F-O-R, but it's pronounced for each, and it looks. And you can say, hey, for each element of an array or each element of a collection in Java. And JavaScript as well not only has a for loop, like we see here, but there is a for each loop. Here's the odd thing about a for each loop. It works. It's a good thing to use if your array indices are not numeric. Okay. In this case, they are, so we use a regular old for loop. But I'll just point out a sort of odd thing. JavaScript's for each loop. It loops over everything that's in the array, but it gives you the index. It doesn't give you the value. It doesn't loop over the value. It still loops over the index, whether or not it's a number or a string or something else or whatever. So if you use a for each loop in JavaScript, remember that it works differently than the for each loop in PHP or Java, and it's a little bit unintuitive, I think, so for better or for worse. Okay, these are optional tips that might help you with troubles you run into. Next time we're going to have a little video that actually does even better. We're going to get rid of all these repeated mentionings of aardvarks 3 times or whatever to make that little menu choice bar. We're going to have code that generates that menu bar automatically. And then we'll be really happy. Cool. I'll see you then.